I got to talk. I got to tell what I feel. I got to talk about my life as I see it. Biggie. Biggie. Biggie.
Okay.
Biggie.
Right.
There it goes. Oh my goodness, is technology on our side so far. So far, so good. Oh my goodness, we've even got a fourth. We've got a special guest. Y'all aren't even ready. You guys aren't even ready for this episode. I feel good about this one. Just that's all I gotta say. This is the least amount of preparation I think we've ever done for a podcast, and I feel 100 about this. 100. Shoot, I guess I'll just go right into the intros real quick, and I guess we can just get that over with and get it started. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, this is your favorite podcaster's favorite podcast. This is Get It How You Live with a U. And, you might see three familiar faces that we got going on here. We got Emily in the house. We got Ross in the house. We've got myself, Saul, in the house. And we've got a special guest hailing from the north, the Winterlands. What did they call the north up there in Game of Thrones? What was the king? I forget. The north, that's it, just the north. Winter is coming. Winter is here. Winterfell. Yeah, hailing from Winterfell. We got our boy Ariel in the house. Oh, hold on. I forgot. I got to do this whenever we got to,
Okay, a little air horn action. I like that.
There we go.
I like that.
There we go. All right. Shoot. I mean, I kind of just want to jump into this. It's been a minute since we've been on. Emily gladly reminded me that it's been 2 months. What was it? April 29th?
Yep, 2+ months.
Yeah, 2+ months. I'm sorry. We're sorry, but we're here now. We're here now.
Here now. That's the truth.
And that's what matters. I don't know. And it's funny. We're talking about I guess what we're even gonna hit on this episode, because like so much has happened, right? It feels like maybe it'll kind of like dull down for a little bit, die out for a second, maybe for a day you don't hear anything crazy, but that's about it. And then all of a sudden, I don't know. Let's see, what did we miss real quick? I just kind of want to skim over things that we've missed, not in any particular order. We've got, I guess, concentration camps being built down in South Florida in the Everglades. People are still getting picked up off the street, Gestapo style. We bombed Iran without Congress's approval. Russia and Ukraine are still going at it. Israel's still bombing the crap out of Gaza. I don't know if anybody saw that picture of like the little girl on fire. Like that was the craziest thing a couple weeks ago. Wild stuff. Let's see. They're still taking away TPS, right? The protective services for Haitians, Venezuelans, Colombians, or no? Am I right? I think Colombians.
I know Haitians and Venezuelans. I don't know. I can't attest to
Cubans. Cubans is the other one. The big beautiful bill, I guess, passed the Senate and it's going back to the House now. And that's a whole monster in itself. Some kid shot 2 firefighters, lured them into the forest, shot 2 firefighters. I mean,
we still have people locked up in El Salvador with no due process.
There you go. But Abrego Garcia got brought back to the country since we
On trumped up charges.
last recorded. Yeah, but now his lawyers, his attorneys want to keep him in jail
custody.
here, locked
They don't
up
want
in
him.
custody.
They don't want him sent back to El Salvador.
Because they got some guy they drew up some bogus charges on him. I don't. I mean, where do we want to start, Emily? Where do we want to start? I'll give you. Tell me where we want to start. You know what, JK. I'm gonna put it on Ariel, the new guy. Pow! He's right here. He's underneath me on this
can
one.
We start with some good news? Is there no good news out there? Oh my God! What a rundown! Like I'm trying to manage my anxiety every day, and I feel like that list of things.
A couple pods ago, I said we had to bring up the happiness, and then we just continued downward.
Well, I will say good news for a lot of people. I'm not a huge fan, but a lot of people are celebrating the fact Mamdani won the Democratic primary in New York City. Everybody's excited.
You know what? Hold on. Let me
Very few
go
of those
back.
excited people actually live in New York, but congratulations.
Yeah,
to everybody.
you're right.
Congratulations
All
to
right.
everybody that doesn't live in New York.
Why? If you don't mind me asking you, why do you not like, or why are you not a fan of his?
It's not that I don't like him. I'm just not sold on him. Like he's a fresh face, like in general, like never mind in politics. And like I feel like if any one of us, anybody, period, ran on that same platform, you would get a lot of votes. And I'm just skeptical that any of that stuff is feasible, first of all, and that he's the one to deliver it, second of all. So that's my main like contention is just like, who is this guy again, and how exactly is he connected enough to make any of this happen? Because it's like,
So what is he trying to make happen exactly? Like what are some of the things that he says that you don't think he can achieve if he wins the mayoral race there for New York City?
So I think the three biggest ones that a lot of people are talking a lot about is taxing millionaires and billionaires in New York City, government either subsidized or run. I don't have I'm not in the weeds about that particular that one, but either government run or subsidized grocery stores, and then a rent freeze to effectively lower the rents and make renting in New York City more affordable.
Free buses too, free bus rides. You were
Yes.
saying something about that. Yeah.
Yep. Free
Okay.
buses, which was something that was already, I believe, in conversation even before his primary run. But yeah, I just don't know. Like so I think that one is something that's more like a realistic expectation for people to have. But the rest of it, I just don't know that he's the guy to really make that happen and to bring those policies into fruition. I'm really skeptical because his career in politics is super short, and I don't know. I just feel like it's all too. I don't know. I think he has more momentum online than he does actually in New York City. Is my feeling.
I want to ask Ross this. Ross, when you were at St. John's, when you were living there in the city, who was mayor? Do you remember?
God, the great Michael Bloomberg.
Blue.
Yeah,
The GOAT. Come on, man. New York was fun back
Okay.
then.
Yeah, sure.
All right.
For
So
some of us.
see, all right, Ross. So, and it's funny, and the reason I bring this up is because I was speaking with Ariel. When were we talking about this? A couple of days ago, probably, maybe even yesterday
Possibly.
or whatever. Just
maybe when you were
texting.
here. I don't remember.
Yeah, maybe when I was there. But I think you mentioned that New York felt safer when Bloomberg was in office. Is that what you were kind of trying to say?
Yeah.
Ross, what was your experience?
Well, I
You know,
haven't.
like, did you even notice? Did you even feel? You know what I mean? Was it something you even you
So
felt or noticed or
I
affected
haven't
you?
lived
Your life?
I haven't lived in New York since 2007. So I can't attest. What I can tell you is that at the time New York was definitely over policed. And what I also can tell you is that I'm not a fan of Bloomberg because was the development mayor. You know what I mean? So a lot of the as far as gentrification that we're talking about definitely happened under his watch. So not too big on Bloomberg, but yeah, sure, he was a fun mayor. One thing I did like about him is that even whenever he cut certain programs from the city budget, he, because he was a billionaire, funded them personally, secretly, but he did it anyways, right? Like I remember at the time, one of my professors worked for the public library system, right? And he had cut like some $300,000 from their budget, and so a lot of them were kind of like railing against him. And then a couple weeks after the budget came out, after like the budget was finalized for the city of New York, like they just secretly got a check for the exact amount that was cut out. So things like that are pretty cool. But
Shout
yeah,
out
no,
Bloomberg.
yeah, shout out Bloomberg because so respect that. As far as mayors go, I'm okay with the idea of an outsider. I don't know that I want someone who's a political animal, right? I don't know that I want someone who's like super connected. I understand that it's easier to get certain things done if you are that political animal because you've been around and you know how all parts of the city government work. However, man, we see who we got in there right now, and as much as I like the brother, not for what he's been doing, but just because he reminds me of a specific kind of individual from a specific time, right? And that's what and it's someone that in my mind I'm like, yo, who is this guy? But I have an appreciation for, you know what I mean? But when you have someone who says things like, yo, I'm the mayor who partied the most, or the mayor who's been in the clubs the most, things like that. I don't know, man. When your claim to fame is that you hung out on Dykeman at 3 a.m. I don't know.
It's like we know a guy like that, right?
Exactly.
We all know a
That's
guy.
right. I was just gonna
Exactly.
say that. I was
Exactly.
just
And the way that he talks, the way that he carries himself, the things that he laughs about, that one earring that he has, right? Like all of that. It's like, yeah, I know this dude. But
Right.
but I will admit my biases. The moment that I found out that Mamdani's middle name was Kwame, I was like, yeah, he's the one. He's the one. He's the one. Then I found out. Then I found out about his dad being like a professor, and I mean, you have a guy who obviously, okay, so he was born in Africa, and his father is actually a scholar, and that's what he chose to study, right? So you have a guy who's of Indian descent who chose to study African studies. I find that interesting. I want to see how that's going to translate in the way that he governs. And like I said, I made my biases very clear. Once I found out his middle name, that he was named after Kwame Nkrumah, I was like, yeah, man, that's my guy. But
Oh,
to Ariel's point, I'm outside of New York City.
I mean, the vibe I got when I was there, I and from him and everything that I've seen online, being the outsider that's happy that he won. I mean, I'm okay with. I guess time will tell. I'm not worried about his inexperience in office because we had a president that has no experience in anything whatsoever. So if you can have this guy run the country, how hard could it be for this guy to be mayor of New York City? Hey,
right.
You get me?
There's that part, but another thing is, like, he still has to win, right? He still has to beat Eric Adams. We don't know that that's going to happen, right?
And Cuomo stayed in the race.
Yeah, of course he did.
I think there's two pieces to
Well,
it.
Eric Adams
One is what?
No, go ahead.
I think there's two pieces to it. Is like him as a political candidate and what can you learn from him as a political candidate? Because it's somebody who doesn't live in New York and hates New York and never wants to live in New York and actively avoids content online.
Take it easy.
The amount of content I had about him in my feed was quite impressive, right? Like on how to run a political campaign, there's things you can learn from him. Now, if he wins the actual election is the second question, and then how does he govern is a third question, right? But like there are things that people can be learning about how he ran this political campaign, because he was anywhere and everywhere on social media. Freaking the guy with the subway takes, all the things were hitting my social media feed, right? And
the video he's got with Lupita Luongo or whatever, like he made a rap song about his grandma. Like
that was from back in the day, though.
It's crazy, but still,
he has like show business experience. Like that's.
I think his mother's a filmmaker or something, and has an eye for that. But like, there's obviously the how to run a campaign piece that people can be learning about, because he did bring people out to vote that we have been losing with recently, and need to figure out how to capture going forward.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that point up. That's kind of what I was speaking with Adi about the other day. That was part of it, and I was like, well, maybe they can recreate how he ran that campaign. You know what I mean? Like how he, pretty much kind of stood on business. You know, well for himself, anyways, and for the people that voted for him. He didn't back down from hot topic issues. He said what I felt were the right answers. And I think when someone speaks with that kind of educated conviction, right? Can I say that? I think like it resonates, and I think as it should. And I think I don't know. I just like it. I hope more politicians see that. You know, I hope they see the AOC and Bernie, what they're doing, right? How they're like kind of the rallies they're holding, and the things they're speaking about that were, you know, these hot topic like fringe things that nobody really wanted to say if they're running for office, but you know they're saying what they got to say. From what I've seen, I don't know. Am I wrong? Like, tell me if I'm wrong, or if it's am I just
I don't know
being,
that you're wrong. I don't know that you're wrong, but I don't know what can be learned per se from that, because if we're talking about the Democratic Party, it's the same Democratic Party who primaried members of who primaried incumbents of their own party to get them out of there, right? So we're talking about the AOCs or the Bernies of the bunch. Yeah, sure, but I just want to see what my man can do. Now, again, he still has to beat Eric Adams, and we can't. I don't care how you feel about Eric Adams. I don't care how I feel about Eric Adams. I can tell you that Eric Adams has a very strong base, right? And the people who are going to show out for Eric Adams are the same people who've been showing out for Democratic candidates year in and year out. And so I'm hoping that Mamdani definitely does grow the electorate, right? So he can have more people come out to vote for him. But I'm also hoping, something that I'm not proud to admit, that maybe, just maybe, the party gets behind him. Like, being that he is the main Democratic candidate now, has Schumer endorsed him? Has anybody, I mentioned Schumer, has anybody that's high up in the party endorsed him yet? Right, as far as Mamdani goes, like, we're still waiting for that. So yes, he ran a great campaign, but he might still be on his own when it's all said and done, especially if Cuomo's still in there, right? And Eric Adams, I'm letting y'all know, don't sleep on Eric Adams.
Tell me if I'm wrong.
He was cooked. Eric Adams was. Like, if it was Cuomo, he like, it was presumed that this was like him on his way out, but now he's back in the conversation. Right. So if it was Cuomo, right? Yeah.
Now let me ask you a question. Do we really want Cuomo in a political office?
Look.
No, I'm just asking. You don't have to give me a political answer.
I'm saying yes. Yeah, easily.
What? Hold on.
Yes.
What?
Yes.
What? Hold on.
We've
hold
seen
on.
what that man
I don't-
does
I don't-
as power.
Yes.
He gave him
Oh
the
my
voice.
He
goodness.
was using his. He was like he was a bully during COVID in a good way. He was the only one standing up to the federal government, like nationwide, or at least the loudest voice, because he had a big platform. You know, being the state of New York. He fumbled.
How many people? How many?
fumbled
What about the
a little
retirement
bit.
homes, bro?
He
The old
fumbled.
people.
I said he
All the
fumbled.
all the seniors fumbled.
But
Bro,
the
that's
thing is that we're not playing by the same standards on both sides. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like this is a guy who comes from like like a political dynasty, at least in New York, in the state of New York, right? He has his brother who's in media, who he cost his job at CNN way back then. But I'm just saying, like, this is the kind of establishment, like, network that you need, I think, to be an effective politician, especially in such a, like, deep blue entrenched state that New York is. So that's my reservations with Mamdani is, like, is he really plugged in like that? And if he's not, and he's not going to be, if he's going to be like a lame duck mayor, if you want to call him that, like I just like why don't we have a progressive movement happening in Tampa, Florida? Like, how about that? I'd be happy to see that, and I'd be upvoting and reposting all day. But it's here. Like, we have enough left leaning policies, like live, like on the books. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like, why do we have to be the front?
When you say we have enough left-leaning policies on the books, what does that mean? Because we're talking about the city of New York. We're talking about a city where people are like, I live in a state where the number one complaint is that all these people are coming here from up north. And why are these people leaving up north? Because they can afford to live there, right? So what left-leaning policy is helping those people? Because that seems to be the crux of his platform, is that, hey, we want to make New York affordable for New Yorkers again. So when you talk about, like, we have enough left-leaning policies, what do you mean?
Well, New York City, if I correct me if I'm wrong, has the biggest public housing program in the country.
Okay.
New York City has the biggest public transit system in the country.
Okay. And
New York,
so let's
New
stop right
Jersey,
there.
which is a suburb of New York, has the highest effective, well, maybe with the exception of California, but like we pay the most taxes here. Like,
Okay.
No, false. DC pays more per capita than any other place. False. I will die on that hill. I will die on that hill.
The DMV region has a lot of high income earners, so that
Yes,
might
but
be
we pay more in taxes per capita than any other place.
definitely not property taxes, but I'll give you that if it's effective income tax. But ultimately, like, that's what I'm saying. So to answer your question, Ross, like, we have a really well developed social support system in New York City. Is it?
Hold on.
Let's the most expensive place.
Let's back it up.
Sure.
Let's back it up, because you mentioned that it has a great or the largest public housing, but is public housing necessarily a left-leaning, I guess, initiative, right? Or having a good transit system, is that necessarily a left-leaning policy to have?
I'd say so. Yeah. I mean, where else you don't see subways in red states?
Right. We could go ahead and say that if we want to. That's fine. But like, I could tell you why you don't see subways in Florida, right? Because it would sink.
Because of Rick
Well,
Scott not wanting
right.
to pay for the
right.
rail.
And I've never been.
I'm saying public transportation. I'm saying that
Right,
that is
right.
that's like a state funded program
Right.
that wouldn't have a lot of support in
Some would
a
say
red state.
some would say that SpaceX is a state funded program, right?
I
Like,
mean,
all these government
but it's a private
contracts.
it's a private entity though. At the end of the day, like MTA is a public.
Look at the salaries in the MTA, and then look at the people who are the head of the MTA. I promise you, they don't vote the way or they don't vote left leaning. Same thing as far as, like, if we're talking about, like, well, there are more unions and things like that. Those people, same thing, especially police union. But I see what you're saying. My point is this: I don't know that having public housing or having public transit makes this a left leaning. I don't see those as left leaning policies. That's number one. And then number two, it doesn't change the fact. It doesn't rather change the fact that people are leaving in droves because they can't afford it. So whether we're talking about it's red or blue or whatever the case may be, I'm glad to see that someone is addressing that, right? I'm glad that someone is addressing that, and he's not making his platform the fact that, oh, well, this guy doesn't believe in the right of Israel to exist. That's great, whether or not you do believe in the right for Israel to exist. What does that have to do with the problems of New York City? And that's what I was seeing from Cuomo, right? Like Cuomo is like, oh, well, I'm more this. No, but what about what we need for New York City? And I say we as if I live in New York City. No, I don't. But that's what I would like to see. Having someone.
Your mic went out.
Having someone who's connected is great, but I feel it's worthless if they're not for the people. And I don't know, based on what we know about Cuomo, I don't know that he's necessarily for the people. He's a bully, yes, but he's a bully for the things that he feels would serve him best. And we also know, unfortunately, about his extracurriculars, which make him a monster. And I worry about people like that getting power. Still on.
I just think his extracurriculars, aka sexual harassment, is disqualifying, and the idea that like he's a bully, so he'll deliver for us, so I will excuse it and vote for them, is the same talking point you hear from people who voted for Trump of, yes, he is a sexual assaulter, but he's going to fight for me, so I will vote for him. And I'm not into that comparison. It's disqualifying.
My thing is we have a much higher, possibly untenable standard for the politicians on our side, and we get caught up. Like there was no criminal charges that came to Cuomo for that. It was a scandal, a big one, and he left office as a result. And I'm not here.
There's not been criminal charges for Trump though either. He was found liable in a civil suit for sexually assaulting. Well,
that's what I mean. Like there's been no like adjudication or whatever you want to say on some of these cases for Cuomo. He had to leave office, and I'm not saying like I'm not okay with that. But what I'm saying is we need to be a little bit less naive about who our politicians actually are and who we can get in office to actually affect change. Like right before the pandemic, in 2019, Cuomo signed a bill that made it so that you couldn't raise rents, and that's still in effect to this day, which is subsequently why there's so many vacant apartments in New York City, because the landlords refuse to renovate if they can't charge more for them. But that's kind of like a whole nother tangent. But like Cuomo is a very reliably he's a Democrat through and through. So, and he's plugged in, like for better or worse. I'm not a huge fan of him personally. But if I want to go into New York City, know that it's going to be safe, know that I can take my family out without having to worry about a homeless man trying to rush us. Like, I don't know if Mamdani is the guy to get the support of the NYPD to really put Candy Crush down and you know what I'm saying, and enforce some laws. So that's my reservation. And I think that we on our side, like we're on the progressive side, quote unquote, we're a little bit detached from what it really takes to be an effective politician. And we highlight some of these scandals, right? Like some of these scandals come to light because we shine the light on the people who are on our side. You know what I'm saying? So that's my thing.
So are you saying there should be no snitching for the people who are on our side? Really?
Literally. Facts.
Sexual impropriety. Sexual impropriety is a spectrum.
No. I respect, but I'm out.
That's who we're up against. They got no snitches at all.
Like, I gotta. Let me jump in real quick because on the point that you're saying, you want to feel safe. Like he didn't say anything about defunding the police. He's actually said about putting more money into services like mental health services. So those cops, that are out there playing Candy Crush. It's not their job to be, mental health counselor to the homeless person that's running down your family. You get what I'm saying? Like, he's going to put money into programs that hopefully you won't have people that are playing Candy Crush. You'll have the correct professionals out there taking care of the situation and the people out there. I think that would in turn make the city safer, because now you have actual professionals dealing with.
If he can make that happen,
if
I'm
he
here
can,
for it.
yeah, if he can make it happen, yeah. And he's, I would rather someone put money into, mental health services than more angry militant, tiny penis men out there with their guns running around ready to just want to, put somebody in a full Nelson because they were watching the UFC fight last night. You know what I mean? And whatever. Sorry, I might be over exaggerating a little bit, but you guys get the point. If he can
make that happen, I'm 1000% behind it. I'm just skeptical that he will, and it's in line with the same talking points of the past of like, let's take budget out of law enforcement and put it into, social services, which in theory is fine. I'm here for it, but it's just in practice, the politics are such in New York City that that's not how it's going to play out, because I've seen it like attempted before. And what happens is, the moment NYPD hears that they're going to be seeing less overtime or less raises or whatever, it creates disillusionment within, the ranks of NYPD. And they completely, it's like, it's like mutiny against the mayor essentially. And so I don't want to be the city, right? The city that I have to frequent for all my doctor's appointment, for work, for whatever else. I don't want that to be the front lines of like all these progressive ideas, because we have a lot of progressive ideas already in motion, and it's great. But like, how about we make Orlando more progressive? How about that? Well, you know what I'm saying? Like, why does it?
We kind of are. They're trying.
I hope so.
Anna Eskamani's going to be running for mayor. Shout out to Anna Eskamani, who's a friend of the show. I can proudly say that.
And not a sexually assaulting man.
Yeah, and she doesn't sexually assault anybody. That's awesome. And she's going to be running for mayor of Orlando. And to be honest with you, I don't think anybody's going to be running against her, because I don't see. Good luck. That's a death sentence. There's no way you're winning that. Like, there's no way you're beating her here in Orlando. So, and I mean, Orlando, the rent is coming down. I will say that. Especially around where I'm at, in downtown, like it has steadied out, and it's kind of dropping a little because they realized they can't be charging what they're trying to charge for, what they're trying to rent down here at some of these places. But anyways, let's move on.
This was supposed to start as a happy topic.
It is.
I know, right?
And everybody should be happy about it. Everybody that doesn't live in New York is super happy about it. And a lot of people that live here. I'm trolling a little bit, but I just find it funny that he has a lot of motion online. That's for sure.
I don't even know if I don't even really want to talk about this. I just kind of wanted to maybe, why not? Let me get your thoughts on this real quick. Kind of random, but this is Florida related, because we are the second state as of today to stop fluoridation in our water. Utah and Florida all together, states entirely, no fluoride in their waters anymore. There are other municipalities and stuff around, across the country that stop fluoride as well. But Utah and Florida currently are the only states with statewide bans. Any thoughts on that, Ross? You've got a child here. Does that matter with the drinking water? I don't know. To you, how's the water been in St. Cloud?
Over the last couple of years, it's been just fine. There was a time when it was questionable, but it's okay now. No fluoride in the water. I think it's dumb, but hey, just make sure that your toothpaste has fluoride, and if you must, get a little boost in your as far as like a fluoride rinse or anything of the sort. You know what I mean? But I that ain't the hill I'm trying to die on. So yeah, no
Yeah,
fluoride.
I mean, why? I don't know. I think
Well, I mean,
it's kind of weird. I know Adia.
I'm happy to be devil's advocate on this one.
no,
No,
it's
no. Go ahead.
No, I don't want to. I don't. I don't. I don't want to
Because
troll anymore.
hold on.
No,
So in the
listen,
county where you're at, is there fluoride, or do you guys not have fluoride over there?
I don't believe that we do
in the
this
water.
county, and they leave it either to the county or the municipalities in the state of New Jersey. It's one of those two, and I mean, you know, like,
I mean, they're saying they stop
fluoride
it
in your
because of
toothpaste
autism.
and in your there's fluoride in your toothpaste and in your mouthwash.
yeah.
So as long as you
For adults, a lot of kids don't have fluoride toothpaste when they're young. A lot of the benefits are for young children or for children without dental care. That's the benefit.
They offer with or without fluoride, and depending on what your dentist advises, you should choose. But your pediatric dentist in that case. But
if you have one.
If you have one, but in the state of New Jersey, there's the healthcare is very accessible, even for people who make like no money, pretty much. So literally for people who make no money. So I don't like Ross said, this is not a hill that I'm willing to die on. And honestly, like if the population of that particular state votes to not have, which was the case, if I don't have the actual case of when this happened in New Jersey, but if the state decides that that's what they want, like, I mean, who are us all the way over here on the East Coast to tell them, you know, to fluoridate their water, you know?
I definitely don't care about little children's mouths in Florida.
Yeah, no, I think that this only happened is
Your
because
niece lives here, for goodness.
that's true.
sake.
There's gonna be a
You've
check.
seen her mouth. You've seen her mouth. She needs some fluoride in that water.
That's cold-blooded.
She can hear it in 10 years when she's an adult.
I just don't like that. I know, right? Oh, what's going on? All right, something's going on with the internet. So I hope the recording turns out fine. By the way, that's just a little message I'm throwing out here because on my screen things are happening. But I guess what I want to say is I just don't like. I don't like how it happened. I don't like. All right, I don't like under like the pretenses that this happened under, like all this false information, all this like fear mongering about it lowers your IQ. And it can make you autistic and all this other stuff. And that's why we have to get rid of fluoride. So now you scared a bunch of country bumpkins here in Florida to vote against it. And then, I mean, like their teeth weren't bad enough to begin with. It's going to be a freaking nightmare, I think, out here. Just in general. I don't know. But I just don't think decisions based on just lies, it's the worst, especially something statewide like that. But I mean, whatever.
So the
I'll be all right.
Was autism? I didn't catch that.
Good dentist.
Headline.
I got fluoride in all my stuff or whatever. I don't know. What's that?
The motivation was autism.
Because I kind of lost you there. I couldn't hear you.
Yeah. So.
Oh yeah, I mean that's kind of what. Ladipo, whatever the guy's name was, DeSantis's crony that he put up there for attorney general, right, or whatever, in health. It's like weird, man. The guy. Anyway, sorry, Ross. Go ahead.
You're fine. I was gonna say that the health guy in Florida, but also what's his name, RFK Jr. also is on that kick. So it's just an alignment, and then I'm sure at the end of the day, it's just gonna be used as part of a political ploy by someone who's running for office, whether it's Ladipo, whatever his name is. I'll look him up to make sure that I said his name properly. Or if DeSantis plans on running for office down the line, then they could be like, hey, go down the checklist of things that they agreed with President Trump on so that they could get more votes. That's it.
Thanks for reminding me of RFK Jr., by the way, because that's some more crazy stuff that we've missed that's happened. Him firing the CDC panel and everything. Like, it's, it's not, I don't know. It's just not a good time for anything right now. Like, even our food, right? With like the FDA and stuff like that. And losing all the inspectors that it did or whatever, I don't know. People are starting to get sick. It's not, I don't know. All this stuff is just scary to me. It's just really scary to me. And I wasn't prepared for any of this growing up. Nobody told me that I'd have to be careful, like extra careful. Like, I get it. You wash your food and your veggies and stuff when you buy them from the grocery store. But now I don't even think washing them will do anything because the person that's supposed to inspect them isn't there anymore. And I don't know what could happen now. I don't know. Am I talking crazy? Like, I don't know. I'm talking crazy. Anyways, sorry guys.
No, they
went down my crazy food rabbit hole. Just make sure that your milk is like ultra filtered. All right.
It's not expired.
But anyways, go ahead. What were you saying?
They've also laid off a bunch of people in.
Make sure your milk's not expired. Make sure whatever.
In the weather advisory, like in NOAA, and that's huge for everybody on the East Coast, pretty much. Like especially Florida, obviously, but everybody on the East Coast is vulnerable to being hit by a hurricane, pretty much. And hurricane season.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Like, how do we like now? Yeah, hurricane season's starting. We don't know what's going to happen, especially in Florida. We're not going to get reports now from this certain whatever thing that we used to get reports from. So I don't know. It's going to be fun. Things are going to get really, really fun here for us. On top of like all the wars and stuff that's happening. Oh man, what's going on? I'm on a delay. Yeah, I think I am on a delay.
I
don't know why either. I'm sorry, guys. I shouldn't be. I'm all like, I'm. Oh, okay.
It's that Orlando
whatever. He's a
anthem,
loser. Regardless.
Are you streaming? Are you streaming something in the background in HDR? 4K?
It is. I'm like wired in too. No, nothing. I got nothing. Everything's off. I don't know what to do.
That's good.
I thought technology was on our side today, but
it is what it is.
Yeah. All right. Well, whatever. Maybe I'll be off the delay too. Yeah, we'll be all right. We're getting our point across. Not to drag this out any longer because I kind of want to keep it moving. I don't even know where I was going with that. I was just trying to segue into something else. Everything's just so horrible. I don't even know like where to start. I mean, I don't know.
Thing about the current state of politics and things happening in this country is like, and I've told you this before, Saul, and I talked to this about a lot about with a few different people is like is everything really that bad? And this is a question. I'm not making like an assertion. I'm just saying, is it really that bad? Especially when you compare it to recent administrations, like when we were, in college and coming out of college, like during those years, like we were literally at 2 wars simultaneously. And that continued under Obama, and it ended up being like one of the longest wars of all time. And so, I don't know. Is it, then
everything is fucked because we don't listen to the courts and the rule of law no longer means anything. Court orders are just suggestions.
I'll let Emily take this. Emily, is it really that bad?
That's all I gotta say.
Let us know.
Everything. That's all I have to say. That's the end of it. That's it. It fucking sucks.
It's that bad. Go ahead, Ross. Go ahead.
No, I, I don't. So you raise a good point, Ariel. I don't. Is everything that bad? I'm not gonna say that things are great or wonderful, but there is a certain segment, and again, I think that's been a running theme this year, at the very least, that I'm very much you guys already know I'm not pessimistic per se, but I've seen I see how things are, and I'm like, oh, it actually could be worse, or this is actually how it's been for a big segment of the population for quite some time, or it's like, well, saw that shit coming like 5 years ago, however long ago. So, is everything that bad? Ariel, I really couldn't tell you that things are necessarily great. Emily does make a good point. No one listens to the courts, but at the same time, the U.S. doesn't necessarily adhere to international law.
Oh, yeah, international human law is fake. It's not real.
Right. So
I've never said otherwise.
Some people would
we,
say
like-
some people would say that their constitutional rights are fake and that nobody adheres to them. Like,
well, right, but like what you're talking about when there were two wars going on, the issues that we were worried about was Guantanamo and black sites and all that, which was awful and horrible, and we still have people in Guantanamo, and that is still a fucking problem. Not denying that. But now we have people being rounded out with no due process and sent to foreign countries to be held in prisons forever and never got a hearing. And the court says bring them back, and they say no, thank you.
Obama deported a lot of people without due process, by the way, like thousands, hundreds of thousands, possibly.
I don't think it was hundreds of thousands. And
thousands.
We have a situation
thousands
without due process, though.
Without due process.
We have a situation where courts are issuing orders and the administration is saying no thanks. No, I don't have to. And that's a problem, because when you don't have rule of law, you have a problem. The whole court system is a service.
And that is a bit concerning. But the question
I'm just saying, like, relative to like every, at our big ages, like relative to what we've experienced, are we really in that bad of a place? Because I remember when the war started, like that was crazy. Like, and we're talking about hundreds of thousands of dead people, like bodies. You understand what I'm saying? And to me, like nothing that's happening right now, or that is even in danger of happening right now, amounts to that.
That's crazy.
Well. Here's a question.
Crazy? How is that crazy? Hold on. Hundreds of thousands. This is a conservative estimate.
Because we're repeating this now.
That's
right?
where I was gonna go.
We're repeating it because we're invading countries again without congressional approval. The first time around was crazily with congressional approval, but this time, no congressional approval.
Where are we invading a country?
Iran.
We're invading Iran?
I consider if another country dropped bombs on our country, I would consider that an invasion.
Obama dropped bombs on Syria and Libya.
No, I'm not doing that. What I'm saying is
I'm just saying, but the question was, is it really
that bad? It is that fucking bad. And that doesn't mean that what happened before wasn't also bad. But if the question is it that bad? It is.
Okay. But the reason why I asked that question is the outrage that Saul was just expressing, is it proportionate to the things that are happening? Because I remember, like, early mid 2000s, like, it was crazy, don't get me wrong, and we were following the news, but it didn't consume us in the same way that it does currently. And I think that's the biggest difference, that I'm like, yeah, a lot of this shit is super crazy. I'm not trying to wash it, but do I need to really be engaged with the drip of the headlines every single day and every single minute of every single day? Like, is it that bad that I need to, like when hurricanes hit Florida, you're glued to the TV and the radio? Like, Is that where we are? I can't, and when I compare it, like using
it
the
feels like a
context-
hurricane hit this country. Like it when Trump won the election with everything that's happening. I'm not. I mean, yeah. I don't remember ever in my lifetime seeing people literally get rounded up in the streets like fucking cattle and like bum rushed. I don't remember a time where, we get that people impersonate law enforcement. I've seen that. I've never seen what I've seen now, where you got these fake ICE agents, these fake patrol people or whatever, dressed up in like tactical gear, rounding up citizens and non-citizens. Whether Obama's administration deported more than we thought they did, or deported, more, it did not look the way it looks now. I've never seen a president with so many executive orders just completely ignore the courts and then take all these TPS, like these protective services, away from people that are here legally. Like, people were here legally in the immigration progress, legally going through everything the way they should, and they're getting rounded up at their court hearings, for their immigration. Like, the guy decides with one swoop of his pen or whatever, the temporary protective status. Thank you. The guy decides to remove all that just because, and now these people that were here legally are illegal now, all of a sudden. Everybody.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, there's
I've
a bit of
never seen
entrapment
that.
there.
Yeah, I've never seen that. Like, even with George Bush, I've just never seen anything like that. So to say that if things are really that crazy, yeah, it's pretty crazy. I mean, are we going back to when we had concentration camps for the Japanese in World War II here? Like, that's what we're like. That's crazy. We studied that in history. We're like, yo, that's pretty fucking crazy. We shouldn't be doing things like that. And now it's pretty bad. I mean, you've got stories of these guys coming into hospitals, unplugging children on dialysis and things like that, and cancer treatments, and taking them off to haul them back. Like, what the fuck is that? That's not crazy? I don't know.
The numbers.
Sorry if I'm still on a delay. I might be.
No, you're good. You're
You're good. You're on time now.
The Obama still got the stats, though. I'm just saying. And the thing is that I think that.
But if we spot you that argument, are we not supposed to be upset? Or we're just supposed to say, okay, it's cool, let it happen now?
Right.
Yeah.
Because it might still be that Obama was
that's
just
like,
lunch,
if we
right?
spot that argument, so we're just supposed to say, okay, it's fine, I go to bed.
Absolutely not. No. I mean, well, yeah, partially, yes, because I'm saying, like, life goes on is what I'm saying. Like, should we be this outraged
Hold
often
on.
all the time, or is this just par for the course for another political season in the U.S.? Like,
So,
we're
all gonna die. That's what he just sounded like, by the way.
Where the pendulum swings back and forth between political ideologies. And when you account for the last 20 years where we've literally, the last 40 years, I'm 40, the last 40 years we've had a perfect division of 20 years of Republican presidents and 20 years of Democrat presidents. And the Republicans are going to Republican. Do you understand what I'm saying? So that's my question, is like, is it the end of the U.S.? Do we genuinely believe that the U.S. is over? Like, this is the final season. This is the season finale.
It genuinely feels like
finale.
this is the beginning of that. This is the beginning of that. Yes, this is like the first episode of the series finale. This is happening right now because they're literally halfway through their Project 2025. They're doing all this crazy stuff that they want to do to garner more control and more power. Because next thing you know, we're going to be talking about, oh, is it so crazy that we can't vote anymore? Is this so crazy? Like, yeah, That's where we're going. That's where we're headed. We're to where they don't even want us to vote. So all the people that thought voting didn't matter, like, you guys are fucking idiots, because look at where we're at now. Oh, I didn't vote for this. I love when I hear that line too. That's my favorite. I didn't vote for this. I didn't. No, yeah, you probably didn't even vote at all. You fucking bum. Like, it is crazy. It is crazy because it's getting to the point where they're literally trying to get to take our vote away. Like, people power will be no more. And they've tried that before. Yes, they've tried it numerous times. They've achieved certain, maybe certain like laws or rules or regulations to where they could, to a certain extent, tie our hands, right? For the most part. But we could still vote. Like, it was still a safe and secure election up until this last one. But that's a whole nother story. I don't, whatever. But if we're not, I feel like if we're not outraged now by this stuff, then I don't. Then when will be? What's going to move the needle for you?
What if you're not pessimistic, I guess.
Like
what if you're a cynical person and you're like, so let me go back. So to answer you, Ariel, I don't know that things are that bad right now as opposed to how they were back then. But I think that right now you're looking at it from the point of, oh, we survived these things and all these things have already happened. Whereas right now we're in it. But are we going to feel the same way? What are we, like 20 years from now, right? Like, are we going to feel the same way 20 years from now? I think this Saul makes a good point. There's a bit of escalation in what he's saying. But he does make a good point that, at some point we might be looking back and be like, oh, is it crazy that we lost this, that, or the third, right? And so is it that bad? It depends. It's the world that we live in, right? Like, now news is much faster. There are so many more mediums to platform yourself. A lot of times some people platform things without vetting them. A lot of times people platform things that are happening right then and there, so there's no need to vet them, right? We talked about things that are happening in Gaza that we can see. We can get live feed from, whether it's Al Jazeera or somebody who has a smartphone on the strip watching it happen right now. So as far as like tomorrow is another day, or relatively to us personally, yeah, sure, we still get to live our suburban lives. We still get to we still have the option of acting like certain things are not happening because, number one, they're not happening to us, and then number two, they're not necessarily happening to people that we know directly. But if you're looking at a family whose the father of the family just got snatched up while he was watching his son graduate, if you ask them if it's that bad, yes, it is that bad. If you're looking at someone whom, and you said it, yes, Obama got the numbers fine, but it was wrong then and it's wrong now. You know what I mean? So that's the point of view that I come from it. Do I sensationalize it? No. Again, because I'm cynical and I'm like, we could kind of see these things happening. One of the things that's
let me jump in right there, because that's exactly where I was going to go, is how much of this is sensationalized and how much of it is actually worthy of like the outrage that you see every single day.
Well, you can't see. So here's the thing, though. You can't gauge how someone reacts to something, right? Like, for example, if I were to be sitting in the same room as you right now and I just punch you in the face, I can't get mad if you turn around and hit me in my throat, then stomp me while I'm on the ground, right? Whereas Saul might just push me off. You know what I mean? So I can't say that the way you react to something is right or wrong, right? I can only say that that's not how I would react to something. But, we all have different sensitivities, right? I care more about foreign policy than I do domestic policy, right? So if you're asking me about how I feel about the U.S.'s views on Haiti, it doesn't matter what the regime is, Democrat, Republican, whatever, right? They're still going to have their boot on the country of Haiti, right? Or any other country for that matter, right? We're talking about like the Caribbean period, or in the condition that they're in right now, because regardless of the administration that's in office, the view is going to be the same, right? Like the US's interests doesn't change in those aspects, right? So that's why I was more sensible to the things that are going on in Gaza. That's why I'm more sensible again to the things that are going on in the Caribbean or things that are going on in Venezuela. Now we're talking about a situation where, because you asked, is this the final season of the US? It's not necessarily a final season, but what's happening really is that there seems to be, where the world in general is kind of like shifting in power, right? I'm sure you all have heard of BRICS, right? Where there's, I think BRICS is Brazil, Russia.
India.
I forgot what the I stands for. I believe it's India. Shout out to Mamdani. China and South Africa, right? Like this is a block of the world that is saying, you know what? We don't necessarily need for the US to be the unilateral power throughout the world. In fact, we don't even need to be dealing with them. And so you're seeing those countries, specifically Russia and China, have more of an influence across other countries, right? And so as this is happening, what's happening here, I believe, is just a response to the fact that the rest of the world is kind of like, hey, we don't necessarily need the US for us to do anything. You have a situation where, like in China, they're building electric cars that would be half of the cost of what electric cars are being sold here with that rebate that apparently this big, beautiful bill is taking away, right? It would still be much cheaper, but we're not getting these cars for whatever reason, right? We want the US market to be stronger, America first. And even though Trump was the first one to actually put it like that, believe it or not, many presidents before him want to protect the American market, want to protect American businesses. So I think in my heart of hearts, I can't be out here acting like I've done empirical research because I haven't. But I think that a lot of what is happening in this country, the nativism of the fact that you have a situation where a lot of people feel like the US should be white, right? Which is why we're going through all these things. I think the nativism is a response to what's happening to the rest of the world, saying, number one, they're catching up, right? China now has a thriving middle class. You have people, you have Chinese nationals buying out real estate throughout the country. That's what was happening in New York when I lived there under Bloomberg, which is why some of these rents and property prices were skyrocketing, because they had money and they were investing it in the US real estate market because that seemed to be driving up so fast, right? And so with that happening in the rest of the world, kind of like catching up and then realizing, Big Brother may not be as strong as we thought he was. Then we have these situations here, and then you have a guy who tells you, and even him, right? Like we're talking about Donald Trump, he's just the face of a much bigger issue. Like if it wasn't Donald Trump, it would be somebody else, right? It would be somebody else. And so is it that bad? No, because some of us saw shit coming, right? Even if you talk about these post-apocalyptic books like 1984 or anything of the sort being out there, but it is bad. It's fucked up.
Do you, Adi, let me ask you this. Do you, and thank you, Ross, because I would agree, right? It is pretty bad. But do you think like none of these, like nothing that, like, you don't think you're going to be impacted by anything this administration does at all? Like, is nothing going to impact you, your lifestyle, like your family, like anything,
Well,
like to where it's not that
in the
bad?
Big Beautiful Bill, they're increasing a particular tax deduction that I can take advantage of, so I'm looking forward to that. But
hold on.
No, your man kept it real. Your man kept it real. That I don't think.
What?
I don't think he said. I don't think he said anything wrong there. I don't think he said anything wrong there.
Hold on.
There is a particular tax deduction that I'm looking forward to. But no, of course, man, of course. But the same is true if Kamala would have been in office. There would be things that would be happening, at the executive level, at the federal level, however you want to measure it, that would affect my daily life
I have to agree.
in a negative way, possibly. So of course, there's implications that affect all of us. I'm not denying that. I'm just saying, like, is the outrage that we are supposed to be engaged in every single day, if like when you log on, anyways, is it proportionate to the shit that's happening? And I'm not saying that the shit that's happening is insignificant or that it's not bad and that it's all good and it's all green lights. I just don't know that, like, I don't know that it's any different than politics from the past. Like it is different, but like I don't know if it's that much more severe than politics from the past because, like I said, like and it's not like it's not to say like what happened in the past was okay. And like because we survived it, we can survive another two-front war in the Middle East. But I'm saying that bad shit happened, and this is not that different from the bad shit that has happened in the past. That's what I'm saying.
I'm bringing Emily in on this one because instead of what she's
good.
texted on my phone, no, look at her, she's so angry.
I mean, but that's the point.
She can't. She doesn't.
I'm so glad that you get your SALT deduction. So happy for you. What Trump did in 1.0 with the federal courts, which I have been on since day one on this pod about what he was doing to the federal courts, has roughshotted people's liberty and constitutional rights for years, and it will have implications for decades, including removing our right of bodily autonomy and our right to choose. That has already happened. And what they're doing to people's liberty interests, including running roughshod over their due process rights, I'm glad there will be a SALT deduction. I'm done. I'm good. That's it. Okay. If you don't want to be outraged, don't be outraged. That's so great that you don't want to be outraged. I'm so happy to you that you don't have to be outraged. That's great.
Obama.
I will choose to be outraged.
I'm not saying you don't have the right to do that. You should be.
I didn't say, but I was asking for your permission. I'm saying if you don't want to be outraged, you don't have to be outraged. I don't think it's okay. I don't think what's happening is okay. Just don't.
I'm not. I never said what's happening is okay. I'm saying is the outrage proportionate? And Obama was in office. Okay, so where was the outrage when Ruth Bader Ginsburg died on the bench?
Oh,
and
no.
Didn't fill that
this
seat?
Podcast didn't exist then. Okay, I had outrage then. She should have retired.
There was outrage.
She should have retired back then so that Obama could have appointed somebody. And then Mitch McConnell made up a fake fucking rule that he only applied in that situation and didn't do it. He didn't apply that prospectively when it happened, to Trump. Okay, so
I was there. I was there.
That wasn't a thing.
There.
I was outraged then. I've been saying she needed to retire, even though she had her hot little personal trainer doing her freaking push-ups. I was saying she needed to resign, step down, so she could be appointed.
I was there, and in the deep blue territories that I live in, there was Ruth Bader Ginsburg action figures in the camp store that I took my kids to buy toys at.
Great.
So this is what I'm saying is like the outrage. I wish this is my like regret that it like kind of informs the reason why I say these things is why this outrage should have been this loud when Obama was in office. Like Obama didn't end the war in Afghanistan. Biden did.
Like man, Obama, I don't think that's a stretch, bro. That's a reach. That is a reach. That is a reach. That is a reach.
Let my man cook. Let my man cook.
How is that a reach? Obama was deported hundreds of thousands of people too. So how? This is my thing. If the outrage is so, if the outrage is proportionate to what's happening, why is?
Well, I want to know. I want to know where the people that he deported were they under the TPS like status, the temporary protective status? Were they under that?
I mean, you'd have to get into the weeds of each case. I mean, it's so many people that.
But even if it was, that's just a segment.
I could say yes, and it would probably be true because of how many people he deported. So that's what I'm saying is like if the outrage is proportionate to what's happening right now, then we should have been this loud when we had a guy in office for two terms.
Here's what I will say. Maybe the wool wasn't pulled from over our eyes just yet when that was happening, right? Motherfuckers were comfortable when Obama was in office. He went to the Apollo. He sang some Al Green. He had that cool walk. He sounds like Harry Lennox.
Or the tan suit.
I went to Obama rallies.
Or the tan suit. I mean, my family. And the thing is, we know this now. The thing is, we know this
John
now.
Kerry. Like AOC
Like,
follows me on IG. Like I'm very
we have
Talk
progressive.
that talk.
We
I'm
have
very
look. We have
comfortably
this
progressive,
information now.
But my shit is, I feel the disingenuousness of all these super loud voices now because we have a reality TV host that played a jerk on The Apprentice in Office, and he's an easy target, and it's easy for us to digest bad guy, and that's literally all you see online is keeping score of who's.
So that's what I'm saying. Like the wool wasn't pulled from over some people's eyes back then, but I have to say that you do make a point. That which is why I was saying like he's just the face of it right now, but you know. As far as is in reality, he's maybe just more of a symptom than the problem.
Like, did we know all these people were getting deported by Obama back then?
No, we didn't. We didn't.
We
did not.
Time.
We did not.
We knew in real time. Yeah, we did.
Okay,
we did not.
So then I'll step back. I didn't.
I knew in real time.
Yeah.
He was being criticized from the left for it.
Okay, and so then the argument goes because we weren't outraged then, we can't be outraged now, and I just don't buy that.
I'm saying
we're allowed to be outraged now.
No, it comes back to the original question: is it really that bad? Because if it's really that bad, how are we living our lives so normally and going to Central Park and tanning in the summertime when Obama was in office?
I'm still going to parks and tanning now, but I'm still pissed.
because the wool wasn't pulled from over our eyes.
Yeah, say.
That's literally.
I have this conversation when I'm at Disney with my friend. I was with my friend Cass at Disney. Shout out to Cass, by the way. And I was looking around and I told her, I was like, this is kind of nuts. Like that's what I just said. I was like, is this normal? Like is this what people were doing in like Germany back in World War II times, like before everything's like really popped off, like just regular day out. All like the world is falling apart around us and we're just here so privileged enough to be like at Disney eating a turkey sandwich in the Toy Story world. You know what I mean? Like I get it, but at the same time I think maybe the question isn't like should we be this outraged? I think maybe that's the wrong question.
Does anybody remember the TARP money? Anybody remember that?
Yeah, I remember that.
The what?
I don't give a fuck about TARP money. We are taking away people's liberty interest.
The what?
TARP.
The bailout.
The bailout. Who gives
yeah,
the
no,
fuck?
I don't remember any of that. Yeah, no. Yeah, no, nobody cares about that because it's not happening now, and that's the thing. See, and that's my other thing. So I'm glad that you keep bringing up all this stuff from the past because that's exactly where it's at. Like it's in the past. Like my whole point, and I think I think I talked about this with you is, all right, it happened. Like, but we need to deal with what's happening now in our reality, like right now, because it's happening at a more accelerated rate. And
by reposting each other's memes and just walking around angry.
I like where this is going, Ariel. I do because
so what do you suggest though? I mean,
I suggest that we support candidates that actually represent us. That's really my entire beef. Is like we've from our side supported the status quo for literally the entirety of our lives, and they've laid the groundwork for what we're living in currently. So that includes
Mario Cuomo, right?
Listen,
because he's a status quo candidate. He's a status quo candidate.
He's establishment Democrat, very comfortably so, absolutely. But the office of the mayor is a different conversation.
No,
I mean we can go back to it.
We can say that the office of the mayor is a different conversation. I agree with you 100%. But basically, what we're saying, what I understand you to be saying is that why do we keep fucking with the same candidates over and over, right? Like the same people that we've been supporting since you say you're 40, right? So the same people we've been supporting for the last 40 years are the people who got us to where we are right now. I agree with that 110%. So, what should we do? Start supporting different people who you feel represent you more. So, regardless of whether you're looking at it from the federal point of view, right? Because we're always talking about Democrats, Republicans. We live in a duopoly. That's great. But it just seems like those people aren't necessarily representing your interests. So, hey, I don't have a problem with you looking at a different candidate. I don't have a problem with you looking at a different candidate as long as they're supporting what you believe in. And so if Mario Cuomo doesn't necessarily support what you believe in, then don't vote for him. If Joe Biden or Kamala,
it's a little more nuanced because
no, it's not. No, it's not. But then again, explain your nuance. Explain your nuance. I'll give you that.
Because we're currently in the era of Trump. So this is not the time for an ultra progressive with absolutely zero experience relative to his competition to go head to head with Trump in the city that I have to frequent every day.
So what you're suggesting then is that we go with a status quo candidate.
We need to fight fire with fire, and that's what I'm saying.
No, because you just said that the status quo has gotten us to where we are right now. And now you're saying that we need to fight fire with fire by going with the status quo. Which one is it?
For this current political season, we have to be practical about who represents us. And Mamdani in New York City is not going to move the needle when it comes to like quality of life for New Yorkers. That's just my opinion, and I'm happy to be wrong about that. If he brings into fruition even one of the policies that he's campaigning on, I'm 100% in favor of that. I'm just skeptical that that's going to happen with the current admin.
So what you're saying is, at the municipal level, we shouldn't go with someone who we feel aligns with what we believe in, but at the federal level,
not right now.
But at the federal level, we should.
Yeah, because at the federal level, you have way more power than the mayor of New York City does.
Who? I'll leave it at that.
I'm saying, do you really think him in office as mayor is really gonna have the leverage to twist Trump's arm to affect anything at the federal level that would improve the quality of life for New Yorkers?
I don't need him to twist Trump's arm. I just need him to make housing more affordable in the city of New York, which is something that the mayor of New York has more oversight over than the president of the United States.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, then I got to get in the weeds of New York politics specifically. But
that's the conversation we're having.
How much time you got?
No. It's not so much about how much time I have. I'm just saying.
Affordability of New York City has less to do with rent than it does to do with income inequality as a whole that can be affected from a federal level, not from a municipal level.
Nah, man, that could be affected at a state level. That could be affected at a local level. You have plenty of cities who have instituted.
Ask de Blasio.
What do you mean, ask de Blasio? De Blasio been here and gone.
Exactly, and how much more affordable is New York today than it was before he came in office?
Just as well as it was under your favorite mayor, Mr. Bloomberg.
But it was safer, at least.
What do you mean? It was safer?
It was more affordable.
Nah, you see, that's the thing. So when he means safer, he means stop and frisk was at an all-time high, and he's okay with that.
Stop and frisk, but New York was.
He's okay with that.
But to be honest with you, when I mentioned that the city was over-policed, that is literally what I was making reference to.
Stop and frisk was unconstitutional, and I'm pretty sure that the courts proved that.
But it kept the city safer.
Did it?
Well, that's what he's saying.
I don't think it is. I don't think stats. I don't think studies show that it kept the city safer. I don't think stop and frisk kept the city safer. I can tell you from
stats, and I can tell you from anecdotes. The city was safer. I mean, Saul, you were here just now, bro. How many? The city was not like it was the last few times that you visited me.
It's not. I didn't see anything bad. I didn't see anything bad. I'm trying to think if I saw anything that was that stood out and that was out of the usual.
Well, maybe it stood out to me and it didn't stand out to you, but
I didn't, because I honestly can't. Like I felt just as safe this last time than I have the last couple times walking around. But
That's because you're with me.
Hey,
that's
Ariel the God.
Just yeah, wander the city by yourself.
oh
Let me know how it feels.
man. Oh man! All right. Let's now we can move on real quick because I gotta wrap this up. We didn't really have a get it how you live exact per se, but we did come across a story collectively here. And if Ross is okay, I'll let Ross introduce this if that's cool with you.
Nah, you had more info on my man. I was like, yo, I don't have one. And I believe Ariel said he was something Alexander.
Yeah, so
34-year-old
a man from South Florida.
Florida man. It's always Florida man.
Florida man. That's how it starts. Florida man, 120 free flights by falsely claiming to be a flight attendant for multiple airlines. The man's scheme spanned from 2018 to 2024. And he is facing sentencing in August coming up next month. How? Like
so
how?
120 flights in 6 years. That's 20 flights a year.
How do you?
That's respect, yo.
I mean, how do you make money? How did he? I want to know how.
Where was he going and why?
I just why not? anywhere he wants. I don't know.
What if he was flying from job to job? Like maybe he's a consultant because we don't know what he does outside of impersonating flight attendants, right?
I mean, he was convicted of wire fraud and falsely entering a secure airport area. So I mean, that one's
20
easy.
years for one and 10 years for another, right? Right? The wire fraud is what? Is it 10 years for the wire fraud? No, 20 years for the wire fraud and then 10 years for the entering a secured area.
Would you feel safe riding in the plane that he's in?
That's a question for Ariel, Mr. Safety.
I mean, I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know. How would I know?
I'm gonna say yes because based on what I'm hearing, he's got 120 flights of experience.
Facts.
My question is who's getting fired on the other side? Who let this dude in? Who allowed their systems to be not bamboozled but hacked, or at the very least to be duped into believing that whatever numbers he was putting in as his employee number were real? That's what I want to know. That's where I don't feel safe.
The whole HR department. The whole HR department. The whole HR department got to go.
Yeah. TSA. Come on.
TSA
is just the illusion of security.
HR department didn't know.
Right. They got to go too. You put in a fake number and it went through.
TSA, Homeland Security is probably more to blame because how do you even get past security without a boarding pass?
Well, that's the thing, Ariel. He got that by putting in fake numbers on these airline sites as an employee. Yes.
He falsified his entire. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Listen, man. Yeah, he needs to be a consultant for the airport security board.
I have to agree.
Look,
Tyrone Alexander's his name.
I think it's more like I want to know how to say his name because saying Tyrone Alexander would lead people to believe that he's of a certain hue or shade,
a certain background.
All right, and the name is spelled
maybe it's like
Tiron. So maybe it's Tyron or Tyron Alexander. And if you guys would see him, which we're not too sure because I've seen various pictures just looking like there's one guy that looks to be a little portly, but then there's another guy that's on the skinny side that they have it. So I don't know, but let's just say Mr. Alexander.
Mr. Alexander.
Thank you.
I mean, TSA stated that he obtained boarding passes fraudulently. Let's see, he underwent standard security checks and didn't pose a physical threat to passengers. However, his actions highlighted potential weaknesses in internal airport security and the known crew member program, KCM, leading to the plantation. Oh my goodness. Finesse. 120 flights. Is 120 flights worth 30 years in prison?
No.
Nah,
You're asking the wrong guy because I don't think so.
No.
Hell nah. I'll stay my ass.
I don't think so.
I thought the known crew member tags had a CAC embedded in them, which also raises other questions.
Maybe they don't.
You see them swipe it to get into the controlled areas. I always thought there was a CAC embedded.
Maybe it's an inside job because he did used to work for the airlines. At one point or another, he did work for an airline. So somebody didn't cancel his joint, or he just has access to it.
I will say the airport security is not as tight as you would imagine, because I had and I thought it was like super tight, but I had a previous roommate who shall remain unnamed that worked at the airport during the night shift, and he said, "Yo, you want to see the inside of one of these planes that I'm working on?" I said, "Yeah, like how would I do that? Like, do you guys have like a guest day or whatever?" This is beyond statute of limitations too, so I'm good. But anyways, he said just wear a navy hoodie or a navy t-shirt.
They're coming for Ariel, y'all. Again,
a navy, some navy dickies if you got them, which I did, and I'm gonna come scoop you up in the Orlando airport like truck.
Thoughts and opinions, shit. Those who are on the podcast are for entertainment purposes only.
I was on the tarmac in MCO.
I wish you hadn't told us this.
One of the planes.
What? Don't worry, I got the message scrolling at the bottom.
I remember
We're good.
thinking like, yo, because I was so excited to just see the inside of a cockpit, because it had been like maybe since I was a kid since I had seen one. And
I don't even think I've ever seen one.
And this was post 9/11, by the way. So I was like, I remember like just being so hype about it that it didn't even cross my mind until I was there, and I was like, wait a minute, I'm like, this is a plane that's probably going to be flying passengers tomorrow, and I'm sitting in the cockpit.
Like all those people that breached the Capitol and got caught up in it.
Facts. Put their feet on Nancy Pelosi's desk.
Yeah.
Didn't even think about it until afterwards.
Took a shit in there.
I mean, I was
like, oh man, I was in there.
Yeah. And I was like, yo, this is crazy. I was like, well, this was fun. He introduced me to his coworkers and everything. And I was like, well, this was
so
fun.
You know names, you've seen faces.
I don't remember the names, but they're
like, complicit. Everybody there is complicit.
I remember them explaining, like, this is the turbine. This is how it
Listen,
works.
you need to remember that for when they offer you a deal. You need to remember that so that your attorney can get you a deal.
No snitching on my side ever.
Oh,
yeah,
my.
Man, just a little dry snitch by telling the story.
Well, there we have it. That's how we got 120 flights. All right. Maybe inside job. It was an inside job. He had help. He probably had help. The dude probably had help.
His homie probably told him
so they got to find the person.
His homie told him to go in the navy blue dicky suit. It was like, yo, just pull up with a navy.
Hey, but honestly, if you look the part, you'd be surprised how far you can get anywhere. If you just walk around with confidence and look the part.
Well, I mean, that's a fact. Yeah, that's true.
America.
Put a safety vest on, you can get into anywhere with a safety vest.
America, if you're confident enough.
I got all right. Before we hit our shout outs, I do have one last question I want to ask you guys, kind of as a poll. And it's not even that serious, but if any of our listeners out there too, please feel free to text me or like message our Facebook page or whatever, or message IG with your answer. I have a friend, great guy, love him to death. Just moved back from Chicago to South Florida. He just got married. And I guess he's got this proposal, this thing that's happening. Yeah, well, yeah, moving back to Florida and getting married. You're right. That's what I told him too. I literally told him, like, dude, what are you moving back here for? Like, you're crazy. But anyways, I guess the premise. All right, so if there was, let's say this is a brunch spot, all right, hot poppin' restaurant brunch spot, and I think Ross and Ariel probably already know where I'm going with this because I think I've already asked them already. Like, would you? And you get there, you really want to go there with your wife or your date or whatever, and you get there and the wait is too long, right? Like too long, like it's an hour long wait or hour and a half long wait. But you do have the option of paying a certain price to skip up ahead in the line. Would you use that option? You get what I'm saying? Like, would you take advantage of that? And how much are you willing to pay to skip ahead in line and possibly get sat within like 5 to 10 minutes? It's not guaranteed, but that's the premise that it's on. You know what I mean? Like,
You're saying as a
are you guys
service or
following me?
as a 20 to the host?
No, as a service. Like the money's going to the restaurant. The money doesn't. The host, the servers, bartender, they do not see that money. That's just straight money to the owner. At this point, we don't know what he's going to do with it, but we know the workers aren't getting it.
I mean,
Emily, I want to go to you. I want to go to Emily. I'll go to you, Ross. We all three of us worked at restaurants, but
There's like
we kind of know how it works.
9,000 brunch places in DC. I'm just going next door. Unless it's like
So you
something
wouldn't
that
pay-
I must, unless it's like I must go. No, I'm going to. Bye. I'll find
So
another
if you
place.
must, let's say it's something you must go.
And there's no spot at the bar.
There's nowhere. The wait is what the wait is, and they're giving you
Okay,
this
so
option.
really,
Hey,
really
you
the
can
question
pay
is how
30
much
bucks.
will you pay? Okay, to
Yeah,
move up.
I mean,
And then
I
if-
think
and
it's a
if-
corporate
wait,
grift. Personally,
And then if
I think it's a
I
corporate
don't
grift.
pay, but if I don't pay, how long is the wait?
At least an hour.
Oh, fuck that. Whatever. I don't care. $50.
Really?
If I have
That's
to go,
interesting.
time is
Yeah,
money. Time is money.
I understand.
And she
Shout
got
out to
more
the
money than
lawyer.
she got time.
Shout out to the lawyer among us.
Okay, see, because my thing is like, what if everybody decides, yeah, I want to pay? You're still waiting. You get what I'm saying?
You said that puts me to the front of the line.
Nah, he also said that shit's not guaranteed.
Yeah.
You see that? That's the grift right there.
So now let's
we
say
all paid
it's a different
$50. We all paid $50, so now we still gotta wait an hour. So now one of us has to
I
pay
don't
an
know.
extra
It's the
$50.
same shit of buying Lightning
Also-
Pass or Genie Pass at Disney. I'm paying
I'm
more
glad
money
you
to
said
still
that.
wait
Thank
in
you for
line.
bringing that. Thank you for.
And I might not even get
Thank
the
you for bringing
rides
that
I
up.
want. But I still do it.
So I don't think it's that comparable. I don't think you can compare a dining service to a theme park. Like I don't like this dining experience. I don't think it's comparable to a fast pass. And he was trying to compare it to that as well. Like you just pay like his premium service to move up ahead in the line. But the fast pass isn't necessarily like you're still waiting a fucking half hour, at some of these
You're
long
still
rides
waiting
or whatever.
and you might not get the rides you want, but I still pay for the service.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. Like I said, I also think it's like a corporate grift. Like, where's this money going to?
But
If it's not
think
going
about
to the busser or the server who's turning the table or trying to get the people out, right? Like to move to turn that table and all right.
But think about what the
let's seat
first
these
part of
people
her
in.
answer was. She said there's a bunch of other brunch spots. So why this brunch spot would have to be so exceptional that you would be willing to pay that. And how many so if this is a service that's being provided, is it by the restaurant individually? Because then they could just jack up their prices and that would lower demand enough to where you would get a table, and then everybody's paying for it. But if this is a service provided independently of the restaurant, how many restaurants are you going to get to sign on to this that are that hot where people are willing to pay that premium? So I don't know. I personally, like she said, like Emily said to begin with, like I would look for a different spot. Like it's like when you see a line around the corner down 2 blocks, you're like, it's not that serious for me.
yeah, hope we find somewhere else.
Yeah, I only got so much time for brunch. You feel me?
I can't imagine a scenario
Hmm.
where I have to go to the brunch. But if I had to go to the brunch, I'm gonna pay money to skip the line. If you're telling me the line is an hour away, I'm that, or I will wait in line. I will have somebody be in my line while I go get some drinks next door and bring them back to the line.
Oh
Is
my
that an option?
goodness. Yeah, sure. Anything is possible.
I'll
In
drink
this
alcohol in
scenario,
line.
anything is possible.
I'll drink alcohol in line. That's fine. I'll wait an hour and be lit by the time I get inside.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. I guess my whole thing was I just really had an issue with the with like the, you know, the owner, the money, the restaurant just getting this extra money, and the service not being 100% guaranteed, depending on, I guess, how many people are there, right? Depending like the different tiers. Like, let's say $20 skips you up ahead, $30 skips you up a little more, and now 50 will get you to the top. But how many people are willing to pay, you know, that 50 right off the front? You know, like Emily,
But
or
I
like,
don't
you know,
think
how many
aren't
people are going to
doing-
pay the 20 or the 30?
Yeah, but restaurants aren't doing
What?
this, are they? Restaurants aren't doing this.
I'm
they?
not right now. Not right now. Not right now.
Are
I
you
mean, and I
pitching
also
us
think
for,
like,
an
what's the whole
investment
point of
in,
calling ahead to make a reservation? What's that?
Well, I assume these are the people that didn't make a reservation and they're waiting for the tables that were set aside for no reservations, right?
Yeah, but
Otherwise, I
you
would
just
have
kinda
made a
get there early.
reservation.
I don't know, Ross. Would you pay? Would you pay? You and Maria are out. You want to go to
I'm
this?
broke.
This
I'm a
she's
broke boy.
she's begging
No.
you to go to this place.
I'm a broke boy. No, I'm not paying. I'm not paying. Like, especially because it's not guaranteed. If it was a situation where, like Ariel said, I give the host a 20, and then, oh, Mr. Ross, what do you know? Your table is here. I did find your reservation. Let me take you guys over there. Yes. But if it's like you pay this service and then turns out that everybody else pays for that service, now I got to pay an extra 20. Like, how much am I going to pay for brunch anyways? Where I'm over here paying 50 to however much it is, to where, like you said, those people who actually are the ones who are going to get me that table don't even get that money. I'm just giving it to the restaurant owner or whomever is providing this service. Nah, man, not doing it.
Yeah,
doing
I like keeping it old school style. Whatever, man. I don't mind the one asshole that's gonna slip a 20 or a 50 to the host, and you know, magically gets that. Yeah, because that's going right to the host or whatever, you know. Or I don't care. Versus, I think you're making it acceptable now to be an asshole. Just, you know, to everybody to do it now. Like, everybody could break the rules now. Now
That's what
you're
Disney-
making it okay
that's what
for
Disney
that. That's
did.
how it feels to me. I don't know.
That is how Disney's doing it.
Yeah, I
It is
mean,
kinda
I
messed
could
up.
see that. Yeah, because you're still waiting. Listen, the way to ride rides is single rider line. Everybody, if you guys didn't know this, if you can, and if you're with some whatever, single rider lines. Just
Yeah,
go
but
in.
not all the rides have it, and not
I'll
all
tell
the
you this:
time.
Right.
85% of the time, you'll ride with the person you're with, anyways.
Yeah, but not all the
Seriously,
rides
they're like,
do
hey,
it.
we need to
Oh, I
single
see,
rider lines.
single
I mean,
Mm.
yeah, single rider. I mean, I'm trying to think which ones don't. Like, I mean, Star Wars does it. The
That's one of the few that does.
what is it when you're in the Millennium Falcon?
Yeah, Millennium Falcon ride.
That one
Yeah, I
can be
feel
really
like that one
long,
does it.
but not all of them.
I do feel a little guilty though when you have the Genie Plus and it's like really hot out and you're just like zipping by everybody. You're like, damn. But I'm getting on this ride.
I don't know. Listen, I think it's different when it comes to a ride versus like an
Why?
actual dining experience. I
It's
don't
the
know. I'm
same.
not paying extra when I get on the ride. Like,
It's the- well,
I'm
if
already
if
paying
you're
money
getting-
to skip ahead. Well, I'm just saying I'm already paying money to skip ahead. Now I got to
Mhm.
pay money to, obviously you're tipping. You know, you want like you have to tip on top of the ridiculous price that restaurant probably has for brunch because you're there. Because
Well, the
of that
tipping was
reason
already part of the
alone.
equation, right?
So, yeah, absolutely.
So
But
then it doesn't matter.
now you're tipping some machine. I don't know.
I'm tipping the machine when I swipe in at
the
Disney.
paying to skip the line isn't part of it.
The thing about Disney though is that it's
I don't know.
unique.
It's tough. I mean,
You can't go to another Space Mountain or to another Tron ride. You know, with the restaurants, I don't know if it would work because there's so many other restaurants that are really good too. So you'd have to be so exceptional, and the restaurants that are so exceptional just charge a lot of money so that not a lot of people can afford to go.
There are places in DC
anyways,
that do not take reservations.
I was just curious.
No,
go ahead, Em.
There are places that in DC do not take reservations, and there will be a line at the door by the time they open. And I've never gone to. Like, one of them is Rose's Luxury, and like there's a handful of them. I've just never gone because I'm like, I'm not waiting in line for 2 hours like to wait and see. Have a reservation system. It's not complicated. And if you don't have a reservation system, I'm not coming.
Yeah, I just think having the reservation thing, that's just the way it works. Either plan ahead, get there, or get there early if you're going to be a walk-in, so you can get a table, and then I don't know. I mean, whatever. I guess if you got the money, then pay. I guess, but I just don't. I don't know. It doesn't sit well with me going into the owner's pocket. He could be the best owner on the planet. He could be the nicest guy ever, who probably deserves it all, but like.
Hold on, what's the difference between it going to the owner's pocket or
the host
going
deserves
to,
it more? As easy as
Bob
their job
Eisner's
is, if it's just swiping their finger on a tablet, I don't care. What's that?
What's the difference between it going to the owner's pocket or going to Bob Eisner's
I really
pocket?
am on a delay. Well, I don't believe in fast pass either, though. But that's a whole other thing. You know what I mean? It is what it is. Like Bob Eisner shouldn't be getting fast pass money either. You know, I just there's just certain things, I don't know, balances in the world, you know, that keep people humble and in check, right? Like waiting in line humbles you and keeps you in check. You got to wait with everybody else.
Nothing wrong with being a socialist.
Like, thanks, Ross.
Democratic socialist.
I'm just saying, you know, you're waiting. You're in the wait part of the restaurant. There, you're waiting with everybody else. Like, you mingle. Like, it keeps you grounded. I don't know. None of this elitist stuff, like paying to skip ahead on a wait list at a restaurant. All right. Anyways, now that I'm still on a delay, I'm just gonna keep going and get the shout outs going. Let's start with a new guy. Adia, give us some shout outs if you can manage that on my stupid, horrible internet delay.
Yeah, we're on a little bit of a delay. But shout out to Mamdani, and I hope we have free buses that my kids can get on and not have to get a Metro card. Actually, it wouldn't be a Metro card. It'd be a tap to pay, I'm sure, by them. But shout out to him. And listen, I'm behind him, and I hope he's able to accomplish everything that he's running on. I have my skepticism, but shout out to him.
Yo, shout out to the fam.
Give us some shout outs
for being here. It's not
Ross.
M, it's Ross.
All right, go for it. I'm on the delay.
Fam, shout out to Ariel, our guest. Thank you for being here, sir. It was fun. Hope you come back. I enjoy our conversations.
Absolutely.
And shout out to the few, the faithful few. You guys are appreciated. Sorry it took us so long to put an episode together, but here we are.
I don't have shout outs. Shout outs to everybody.
Shout outs to all the listeners. I'm here as a representative of the listeners to tell the pod. Y'all need to record more often and for longer, please.
Yell at him.
Tune in.
He's
I know. I do. I tell him in person. I tell him via DMs. I tell him via email.
He does. He definitely does. Let's see. I got a special shout out because just a few days ago it was the homie Ross's birthday. So shout out to Ross. Happy birthday to the God Papa Knowledge himself.
Cheers.
Oh, I think we got Jeff coming up soon. So shout out to Jeff. He's got a couple days, I think, for his B day. I don't know if I missed anybody else, any B days during the summer. But happy summer B days. Happy June, happy May and June B days and July, because I don't know if we'll get another one this month. Maybe we will in a couple weeks, but we'll see. Shout out to Parker. Shout out to Emily's Parker.
Oh, shout out to
Shout out to Todd.
That's the dude's name.
Oh,
He had
bro!
a great
Happy
dope
birthday to
show
Brandon
for
Collins.
Juneteenth.
Good shout out.
Dope show for Juneteenth. Very cool.
Bro, thank you for reminding me that, because I did want to plug everything he's doing. Ross, I'll tell you this, man. I was very impressed, and I hope he sees this too, because he's funny, right? Like, I know him through you. You know him more than I know him, you know, but his work ethic, I could see that. And I could just see how serious, and crowd was phenomenal there that he had. The comics that he had and the speakers that he had were on point with all their stories and everything. Man, and honestly, I wish I should be better at this. Like, I should have wrote them down so I could give them a shout out, but I'll tag them or plug them when I do the promotion for the show.
Super good, super dope.
Yeah, she was great. She got to do a little stand up, but just overall, man, I'm just like super proud of like how far he has come. You know, even during the pandemic, like, I saw all the interviews he had, even like Samuel Jackson interviews, all the movie stars, you know, for Medium Popcorn. Shout out to Medium Popcorn podcast there. But it was just like, it really was like, Ross, you need to see this live. Like, if you do get a chance next Juneteenth, you need to come out and actually, and like really come see his show. Like, I wanted to fly out to Detroit to watch the next one, because I mean, first off, I love Detroit, but it's just, and I know he's from Michigan, you know, so I know it's like it would be a hometown show for him. But man, he's just doing big things. So that's huge shout out and props.
You need to help him put together
everybody behind
an Orlando show.
Oh, I would love to. If he would let me be a part of that, that would be amazing. Are you kidding me? Like, that'd be like one of the highlights of my media career that I have here, would be able to work with him like that. But yeah, man, no, the guy was amazing. Juneteenth show. Yeah, my New York trip was awesome. Shout out Adi. I literally, on this show, I've got two of the best hosts that I've ever had in my life that would let me crash at their places in DC and up in the city. Just
Emily, that's
just
you.
the best. So I can't complain.
Crash,
Yeah, I can't complain.
Recover.
Yeah, die and come back to life in Washington D.C. pretty much.
Oh,
but no, again, Brandon, amazing, doing big things. Seriously, like it's insane. Who else, man, do I need to shout out that I'm forgetting? Long Shot Barn Billiards out in the Four Corners area off 27. Shout out to Harold and Mo and Alex out there. Let's see who else. Shout out to Chris. Shout out to Saba. Shout out to Allen. Oh, speaking of Detroit Allen, not Philly anymore. Detroit Allen. Shout out to LA Insurance, Ray and Charles doing their thing. LA Realty as well. What, man, they're doing all that stuff. So it's booming. Business is booming, everybody. God, I forgot. Shout out to Cash. Shout out to Ashley.
Oh, Ashley. Hi, Ashley.
Oh yeah, you got to meet Ashley. That's right.
I sure
That's
did.
right. Let me see. Who else? Oh, Man, I'm sorry if I forgot. You know what I mean? But it's the end. And you know what? We did this extra long show because Ariel, you were on this one. All right.
We need to work on the music for this show.
Hey, don't hate on Todd. Don't hate on Todd.
Oh, shout out to the Alligator Lounge and the pizza ticket. Hey, shout out to the Stonewall, by the way. We tragically, 2 people got shot out there, man. And I say that because as proud supporters of the LGBTQA community, Ariel and I went there last summer.
Proud customers of the Stonewall.
And proud cuz, all right. So I don't like hearing that there was a shooting there. That's not good.
Of the Stonewall.
So, you know, take that, Emily. Take that.
See the chat.
Anyways. Yeah, I did. Whatever. Listen. I'm not going to go there. But anyways, yeah, I think that's it, man. I think we're going to bring it to an end. Thanks, everybody. We're going to try to get another one pretty soon for y'all. There's a lot of stuff happening. But yeah, just reach out to us. Tell your friends to like us, subscribe, do all that stuff.
Guys.
Like, share, subscribe.
Love you, bro. Love
Ross, Emily, Adi, thanks. Peace, everybody.
This ain't about left and right. You better stop messing around. This ain't about left and right. Need to worry about up and down. This ain't about left and right. You better stop messing around.